When we think about ways of trying to deal with hookup culture today, we think about how Christians maintain sexual purity.
Christians living in a world of sexual immorality is hardly new. In fact, it's something they faced for 2,000 years.
So in the first century, sexual promiscuity could unfold in a number of ways. For example, in Corinth, going to a temple and having sex was seen as a kind of religious and sexual act. Having a concubine, sex with a slave, which was seen as acceptable because a slave was just property. Adultery would be another example, and liaisons within Roman baths.
The more the first century church was surrounded by these lusts of the flesh, the more they contemplated the Creator's original intent about intimacy.
When early Christians thought about how humans were designed, they were made to be lovers. The love that they were given was there to point them in a direction. It was an arrow, and that arrow had a home for it. The home that love seeks is something that is absolutely stable. There's a restlessness that we have as a result of being unstable. Augustine puts it this way in the beginning of his Confessions: "O Lord, you have made us for yourself, and our hearts are restless until they rest in thee." Love's arrow ultimately is pointing us toward God as the ground of our existence, because God never changes. So love points us toward God.
Early church leaders knew finding peace in healthy, stable relationships doesn't always come easy. Discipline requires purpose.
As you look at the history of Christianity in the early church and how it tried to help with sexual promiscuity, there's more and more a move to begin to think about where you're going in life in terms of calling and gift. Celibacy becomes an important option, singleness and celibacy, and that becomes a calling and therefore a gift. Celibacy as a calling bears witness to the fact that sexuality doesn't define all that we are. It is a visible witness to that.
While many singles today regard marriage as the secret to fulfillment, that can be painful and even harmful for those desperately seeking a partner.
Really, it would be better to think of following Christ as the gold standard, and in following Christ, you received a series of callings. And some of you were called to marriage, and some of you were called celibacy. Christ describes himself as the bridegroom in John's gospel, and in Revelation, he's described as the bridegroom, and then the church is described as the bride. It's in our union with Christ that we find our ultimate fulfillment, that love's arrow finds its true home in him. And when it finds its true home, it's liberated from having to find another home, because we're made to be lovers.
So how do Christians discover our calling in the midst of a hookup culture? The answer is confidence, not just in ourselves, but in the one who made us.
So as a church, we need to instill confidence. I think the more confident a person is about who she is or he is as a human being, including their sexuality, the more strength they can have to resist certain expressions of that sexuality, because they know who they are. They know they're a child of God. They know that they're loved by this church. They know that they have friendships. Young people, not by stigmatizing it all, but by helping them to become confident young adults. This is who I am. This is where I'm going. The call of God is upon me. I want to preserve that call. The way in which we transform culture is to create culture. We're going to search for a home for that love. The question is, what home is it going to be?
Yeah, definitely. God is the only one who can fill us. Whatever we're looking for, he's it. He's the beginning and the end. He's the Alpha and the Omega, not just in the universe, but in our own hearts.
One of the things I think in our current culture we need to overcome is the thought that somehow we've evolved into a more open sexual preference or sexual expression. And I like to remind Christians, this is nothing new.
Yeah.
This is what ancient Greece and Rome were frankly all about. And when you look at the history, Rome with a population of roughly 600 to 800,000, well, 60,000 of them were professional prostitutes, both male and female. And you look at the history of Greece, for the Greeks, they viewed sexual urges as being essentially equivalent to hunger. So when you get hungry, you go eat. When you have a sexual urge, you go to the porneia, which is where we get the English word pornography. But the porneia was the place of prostitution. So in Corinth today, you can go see the ruins, and they will actually have advertising signs on the streets, in the stones of the street, this way to the porneia. So they would direct you where to go. And this was the culture that the Apostle Paul brought the good news to. That no, there's a better way. You are a child of God. Your house, your body is the temple of the Lord. Treat it that way. What fellowship does the Holy Spirit have with this kind of activity? And in Paul's view, and in my view, your body doesn't have any fellowship with that. If you have the Spirit of God in you, rise up to that standard that He has clearly expressed in the Scriptures, whether it was in the Torah for the Israelites in the desert, or it's the New Testament, the book of Romans, for the entire New Testament church. That's the standard that we have to adhere to. We have to adhere to the teachings of the apostles. All this new stuff is not new. It's remarkably old. And the Christian church overcame it and rose above it is probably the better word, rose above it in the first, second, and third century. We can do it again in the 21st century.
Yeah, and I just want to add that if you are struggling with sexual sin, whether that's pornography, just in the hookup culture, lustful thoughts, please give us a call. All you got to do is call us at 1-800-700-7000. We have prayer warriors waiting on the other side of the line, willing to help you through this, pray along with you, and we have resources for you as well. Hey everyone, I'm Ashley Key. Thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so we can reach more people with encouraging content like you just watched, and so you never miss a beat. See you next time, and God bless.